You mentioned nutrition. That would be something that you would be the first thing you would talk about. And for a while, you were posting all the flexible nutrition stuff, and I was loving it because it was, throw some Swedish fish in with your macros, make it work. But before you said, you like to optimize, and you're kind of aware of all that stuff. So is there room for flexible eating, or does it have to be organic? Does it have to be clean all the time? Does it depend what you're doing? If you're wrestling, you want the best kind of foods. If you're a soccer mom, hey, you can, if it fits your macros, make it work.
I love talking about this. So I don't think there's any debate. Like eating cleaner is going to be better for you, right? Like that said, I think tracking macros is important. And I think depending on your goals, how you're filling those macros is not very important. If your goal is aesthetics, like I think you can look, I've looked really great, like, arrogantly, but like I've looked at people like I had a six pack, etc., eating donuts, eating pizza. But part of that is also I'm getting enough protein. So it's not like I think when people hear if it fits your macros, they're like, you're eating junk food all day. Like I'm eating junk food within parameters, but there's also things I have to do, like get enough protein. And it's hard to get enough protein and only eat bad. That said, yeah, I think the most ideal thing would be eat clean foods, right? Meats, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and track your macros. But then the whole thought behind it would be that's good if you're going to be consistent. Most people eventually fall off, which is why I circle back to, well, if you're eating pizza, but that allows you to stay on path, is that not the better alternative? And that's where people fight you on the internet, right? Like you're telling people to eat pizza. And I'm like, yeah, but I also know if I tell people to eat clean, that ends. So in a vacuum, yeah, eating perfectly clean is the ideal scenario. For 99% of the world, that's not going to happen.
Do you have any tips or tricks for a recovering wrestler who has an issue with the binging part and
Asking for a friend.
asking for a friend, yeah, and has to kind of eat clean, or I fast, or I shouldn't say fast. I time restricted feed because that's where I know I can control myself is
Mhm.
in those windows.
We do the
But
same thing.
I don't necessarily know because Rich will tell you, like, I'm sitting at Christmas dinner watching people eat. Like, I know that's
He
not.
makes it weird.
I
Yeah,
know
no,
it's
I'm that guy. Like Jimmy, you and I are the same. And that's why I love macros. So when I first got involved in CrossFit in like 2007, paleo, but paleo was like tequila counted, dark chocolate counted, paleo cookies would count. And I'm like eating paleo, but I'm overweight, right? And overweight for me is like if I get to 170, I'm like, you got to do something with your life, right? And I found macros. The reason I'm such a proponent of macros is because I know, let me talk to you this way, Jimmy. If you were to track macros for 60 days, and it would be like, I want you to be dialed in and consistent for 60 days. How tall are you?
I'm 5'7",
And what do you weigh?
125, 130.
Dude, you're thin. You're thin, huh? Because
Yeah.
I'm 5'3", 155.
I
Um,
I wouldn't be I would be touching my stomach all day when I'm walking around. I'm a wrestler. Like I'm a crazy wrestler,
yeah,
Jason.
yeah, no, I get so, but here's what I would tell you. Like, oh, so much I would want to tell you, but I would say if you can give me 60 days dialed in, at it would probably be like for you 2,400 calories, like not nothing. Eventually, you will get to the point that you have to add food to continue to stay lean. So personally, I've gone from like 2,000 calories to 4,000 calories while maintaining the leanness that I want. So the value is if you can work hard for 60 days, there's a tremendous light at the end of the tunnel when your body's become more efficient and fixed its metabolism. Now, that said, in order for me, when I've had to like reboot and like start again, I fast and I cram all of those calories into like a 2 hour window. Cause now,
So
cause I don't mind fasting for like anyone that's like, I can't fast for 16 hours. I'm like, you're just a baby. Like it's 16, dude. You should be able to go 72 hours, like, and not the fact that you can fast is a problem in and of itself. Like it means you're, in my opinion, I think it's a little mentally weak. Like you should be able to not eat for a day. But if you, and then for me, I'm like, that's no problem. And I get to eat so much food in 2 hours that I feel really full and satisfied. And then I get to that point, and that point looks like I wake up way more hungry than I had in the past. The scale starts to creep back up, and you actually need to eat more to help. You should try it
you got me intrigued. I'm about to go to Europe
when you're back.
for 21 days, so I might have to do that when I get back. But
Yeah,
I
hit me
might.
up when you're back. I'm happy to set you up. It's funny because I don't really coach nutrition anymore. And like we were talking, COVID happened. I had two kids and I got lazy and wasn't tracking and kind of like, I was like doing like a little carnivore, but for me, gray doesn't work. Like it's like I need complete black and white, which is another reason I like tracking. It's to me very Jocko-esque of like discipline equals freedom. Like, cool. Like you might think this is rigid that I track, but that's freedom for me. I know what I can eat and I'm good. Like I don't have any questions about it. So I'm pointing at my phone because I do it all, on MyFitnessPal. And so I got like and I hit 170. And that was the moment where I was like, I think we all have that threshold where you look in the mirror. I don't think everybody does, but I think some of us do. And I was like, okay, you're fat. Like you need to do something with your life. And I was like, well, macros work. So I got back on it, 2000 calories. Like I knew enough to set my numbers, fasted again. And I went from 170 down to like 145, shredded, had to start adding more. And it was at that time, I'm showing up at jujitsu, and all of a sudden people are like, what are you doing? And I would just like, I have a book, but I just give like, I don't have physical, like, I have an e-version of it, which I'm happy to send you guys. And I'm like, hey, read this. And I've had like 5 people at the jujitsu school like do it. And it's just awesome to see like they're it works. Most people are like I could imagine Jimmy being like, "You don't get it. I'm a special snowflake, and I'm a unicorn, and here are all the reasons this won't work for me." And I'm like, "Cool. Like you can be right. Like you're a unicorn, or you can do this thing and see if it works for you." Because by the way, it's worked for everyone on this planet that I know that's done it. So yeah, when you're back, we'll get you up to 135.
Ooh, I like that.
Chase, I'm curious, what are the what are the similarities and or differences, and maybe there's a lot of each between flexible eating and say like zone?
Between those two specifically, the main difference is when you think flexible eating, you essentially have a budget of macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And at the end of the day, you hit those. Now, that's assuming like Jimmy, we can hit those all in 2 hours. We can spread them out throughout the day. There are things that are going to be better for you. But again, my philosophy is the best thing for you is you doing this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the more rules we apply to that, it's like Jimmy in wrestling. Like dad doesn't let you watch wrestling. I'm going to sneak it over here. Right. And it's the same thing. Like I want to set you up to be able to do this tomorrow. The zone is a block system. You guys took your level 1. You remember it's a block system, but you have to eat protein, carbohydrates, and fat in every meal. The benefit to that is hormonally, you're not getting these massive insulin or glucagon spikes throughout the day. The challenge to that is you have to eat more frequently if that doesn't work for you, and you have to really measure every meal individually. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
I think as someone that's done both, I know when I hit my macros, I try to get a nice balance at every meal, but I don't put a ton of effort into that. More importantly, I get the numbers by the end of the day.
Okay. Cool. I've been messing with EC's 800-gram
I
challenge
do
as
that
of
as
late.
well. EC's,
Yeah.
I try to get 800 grams of fruits and vegetables, mostly fruit. I've kind of steered away from vegetables. Um, but yeah, EC and I have done, and we worked together many times, and she's a good friend. And I think that's a great philosophy, whether you're tracking or in life. Like, get more fruits and vegetables in.
Yeah. Yeah, because we talked to her about carnivore, and her clip got a lot of hits on there's a lot of angry people on YouTube about her stance on the carnivore.
I'm assuming she rejected it. And I think you, as someone that was really into carnivore, and I still believe in it for many reasons, but I do think carnivore with some fruit is probably a better alternative.
Yeah.